We are T-minus approximately 1 week away from Baby Bradkey's scheduled debut, which means that this guy is doing probably your last show before fatherhood.
Yeah, likely. It's kind of terrifying.
Okay, well, he's terrified. He's also Kyle. I'm Colby, and this is Bootleg. On today's show, we've got Stony Brook quarterback Tyquell Fields. Of course, like everybody else, I think that we're obligated to talk about the NCAA's announcing a meeting about a meeting. Although I feel like we did pretty well cover that about a month ago. Mm-hmm. Oklahoma lost, so I'll go full homer and plot their path back to the playoff. Okay. Never say die. I also may or may not have a worthwhile rant stored up about the Cowboys not closing the deal on Jamal Adams' NFL trade deadline.
Can't wait to hear that.
And Michael Gunter will join the show to talk about the world's largest cocktail party.
We don't call it that anymore.
On this show, we
call it
I'm just kidding.
We absolutely call it that.
Before we do any of that, though, N'Kosi Perry is going to start from Miami on Saturday after he led the Hurricanes to a comeback win against Pitt. He's the obvious choice because Tate Martell's taking a mental health month.
Is he still on the roster?
I don't know.
Let's find out right now.
He took a leave, a mental health leave. Wasn't that what it was?
Yeah, still on the roster.
It's like Nomad takes mental health Fridays. Tate Martell's taking a mental health October.
We have they offer, I think, meditation classes here. We should get him in one of those. Yeah.
I think they go to the park across the street too, so he can get some vitamin D. Probably be more action than he's seen since he got to Miami. And obviously, all this talk about Tate Martell can only mean one thing, which is it's time once again for the greatest segment known to mankind. Where in the world isn't Tathan Martell?
Yeah.
I actually did it right this week. I have.
Okay, good.
Well, I did it right, kind of. I have hints at one school, and then the other one I didn't really feel creative at that point, so I'm just going to tell you the other one.
You got two?
I got two.
Dang, I only have one.
We were only supposed to have one, but I couldn't decide, so I got two. But we'll offer the second as a bonus after we're done here.
Okay.
You want to start or you want me to?
You go first.
Okay. Gerard Butler once coached this team.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's a miss for me.
Okay. He'd get an annual rematch with Ohio State.
That helps. Northwestern? That's not annual. They're in different divisions.
Yeah. But now you're making me think if I actually gave you a good hint there or not. I get the legends and the leaders mixed up.
It's all right. Just, what's the third one? Did I get a third one?
Yeah, there's a direction in the name of the college town that he'd be playing in.
Oh, West Lafayette?
No.
Purdue?
Great guess, though.
Purdue?
No.
East Lansing?
That's the one.
Dang it, Michigan State.
That's the one. Gerard Butler coached the Spartans.
Okay.
In 300.
I did not know that.
Yeah, he was the head coach for that that Army. Look, man, Brian Lewerke threw for 165 yards on 34 attempts in a 28-7 loss to Penn State that really wasn't even that close. Mm-hmm. QBR of 31.8.
Yikes.
Which was actually a big improvement on his 53-yard performance and a 38-0 loss to Wisconsin when his QBR was 23.2, if you're keeping score at home. Mm-hmm. Michigan State,
trending in the right direction.
They literally cannot get worse on offense.
How about when a reporter asked D'Antonio if he regretted not firing anyone on his offensive staff from last year? And he said that was a dumbass question.
Clearly. They're excelling.
No, very reasonable question.
Yeah, God. I don't know, man. I long for the glory days of Michigan State football when they run college football playoffs.
Yeah, me too.
Now they can't even get in the end zone.
Because usually that meant they beat Ohio State, and that was always funny.
That's always funny. I will say this. I don't know if Martell would have wanted to play at Michigan State because the month of November, which we are entering into as we speak, all I can think about when I think November in Michigan State football is the absolute shittiest possible weather that you could ever play a football game.
The grossest grossest weather. Cold, rain.
It just looks painful.
Yeah, it's gloomy. That's how the Penn State game looked. And usually that's their bread and butter. Those are the games they win. But behind this offense, they can't do anything.
And Le'Veon Bell's not walking through that door. Although the Jets probably called Michigan State to see if they wanted to trade for him, because I think they called everybody else.
Even Kirk Cousins isn't walking through that door.
Nope. Even Connor Cook is not walking through that door. We keep it up.
Yeah.
What do you got?
Okay. This team nearly beat a top 10 team in week 2, but now has a losing record. We'll get more refined as we go.
Okay. Week 2, top 10, almost lost. Is that team still in the top 10?
No, so this team almost beat a top 10 team.
I know.
They were
team
not.
They almost beat, though? They're still in the top 10?
They're still ranked. They're not a top 10 team.
Ah.
They're
Okay,
in top 15.
More.
Okay, yep. Thank you for your service.
Okay. Almost beat a top 10 team. Army?
Mm-hmm.
Almost beat Michigan.
Uh-huh.
And they run an offense that would be
They run
suitable
the
for
triple
someone
option.
who's very fast.
Yes, exactly.
What was the third one, just out of curiosity?
I was going to say triple option.
Oh, okay.
Because in case you didn't get the thank you for your service.
Is that the first one I've gotten so far?
Yeah, because... No, you got the last one on the second hint. No, you've done good.
I'm red hot then.
Yeah, he's really fast. He's great with his legs. He would probably come in and play right away. And I don't know. I think it would have been a good... I don't know if he could have done all the stuff that requires you to go to the U.S. military academy.
Yeah. So that's where I wanted to push back. At Miami, you can take a mental health day. Apparently, you can take a mental health month.
Mm-hmm.
At Army, they don't offer mental health days. I
don't
think that he's quite West Point material.
He might not be off the field. But you know what? I'm looking at his social media. He's not single. So there's that. And he's staying positive and patient.
Positive and patient.
When you search his name on Twitter, it's just a bunch of Miami fans saying, like, I'm not watching again until we play Tate Martell. Like, they want Tate so bad.
I don't even really necessarily blame him. Like, how much worse could he really be?
Yeah. No, you're right. I don't know. There's got to be a reason he's not playing, though.
You know, it's funny, though. We do this segment, and I make fun of him because I like making fun of him because he's very easy to make fun of. I'm not necessarily selling my Tate Martell stock as a college quarterback. I actually think that he could still be a player. I don't know.
I mean, that's why we've given these options.
Clearly, we have...
Because we actually do think he could be a good player.
We needed somebody to contact Tate, let Tate know that we're working on his behalf every week to find another option because, there's nothing saying he can't transfer again.
Yeah, and then when he hears our options, he puts in the interested or not interested pile. And then at the end of the season, he pursues the interested pile.
Yeah, it's easy.
Yeah.
I do have one more that he probably would put in the interested pile, I think. No hints for this one. Cal.
Yeah, yes.
They start 4-0. They're ranked number 15. They're fresh off a road win at Ole Miss. They're playing Arizona State. The quarterback, Chase Garbers, starts off hot.
Yeah,
9 for 11, 117 touchdown. Cal leads 14-7. Everything's coming up Golden Bears.
Mm-hmm.
Then there's a shoulder injury.
Yeah.
Now Chase is out for the year.
Mm-hmm.
Turns out Cal had absolutely nobody behind Chase.
Nope.
They've now lost 4 games in a row. They don't even look like they're going to make a bowl game because, scoring touchdowns important to winning football games.
It helps.
Winning football games, it so happens, is a prerequisite to playing in a bowl game.
6 of them.
So, yeah, that is correct. And they have 4 already, as we pointed out. I don't think that there's 2 more on their schedule. They went from Devin Modster, who was so bad that he forced them to play a guy named Spencer Brash. And Brash rolled up a big 47 yards passing in their most recent loss to Utah. So feels like Tate could just, take it back to the West Coast, Pacific time zone, go to Cal.
Yeah.
Berkeley, to me, feels like a little better fit for him than West Point.
Yeah, probably.
And, so throw Cal in the pile, Tate.
Just check out Army. Maybe it will help you. Maybe it will help him.
Could be just what he needs.
The structure,
Yeah.
You send the kid to military academy and start misbehaving.
That's a great point.
Get him in line.
Excellent point.
Yeah.
All right.
Point, counterpoint.
Just consider it. Oklahoma lost to Kansas State on Saturday. After you lied to me. You told me not to worry.
I did. I'm sorry. I just thought this team was different, and I didn't think Kansas State would be as good as they were on Saturday.
Kansas State, if they do nothing else, they destroy Oklahoma national championship aspirations.
They're really mean about that to you guys.
That's what they have become. They're not good at a whole lot, but they are good at that.
Mm-hmm.
Manhattan's not a super fun place for Oklahoma to play. I don't really know what it is about the big purple sea of people, or I don't know.
The Little Apple?
Yeah, the Little Apple. So now everybody on my television tells me that Oklahoma's done, that they have no path back to the playoffs, and naturally, it is my duty to disprove these, frankly, erroneous rumors.
Yeah, I too disagree with that. They're absolutely still path, but I will let you lay it out for them.
I would love to. What I'm going to do is I'm going to run through the remaining teams that are like playoff contending teams. Mm-hmm. And I'm going to tell you on the record, and I really hope that we have the record button pushed here, because after all of this happens, there's no telling what's going to happen for me, dude. I mean, my stock is going to just skyrocket because I may be a football psychic.
We got to hear this.
So buckle up.
I'm ready.
Alabama.
Yeah.
Bama's going to lose to LSU.
Okay.
Then they're going to beat Mississippi State, and they're going to beat Western Carolina, just barely, before losing in heartbreaking fashion to Auburn. 2 losses for Bama. Bama's out.
They gone.
Ohio State. Ohio State's not losing.
No, I agree with that.
Sorry, Penn State. Sorry, Jim Harbaugh. Ohio State is going undefeated. Then they're going to beat either Minnesota or Wisconsin, whoever they play in the Big Ten championship game, by about 80.
Mm-hmm.
Justin Fields may, in fact, use that as his launching pad to a Heisman Trophy, unless Joey Burrow and LSU, they're not losing.
I don't think so either.
They're going to win at Alabama against a hobbled Tua. They'll obviously destroy Ole Miss. They'll squeak by Arkansas. Knock off A&M. Undefeated SEC champs. Going to the playoffs. Joey Burrow, Justin Fields.
What if old Arkansas screws this up for Oklahoma?
I hadn't even thought about that angle.
Like beats LSU?
But that wouldn't necessarily screw it up for Oklahoma, would it? No, I don't think so. Just take LSU down a rung.
Yeah, because LSU could still get in, I guess.
I don't know. Let's flesh this out.
I'm sorry.
We'll circle back. I hadn't actually considered the.
I didn't mean to throw a wrench in there.
You know, Arkansas beating LSU wasn't really something that popped up on my radar.
Yeah.
And since I'm on record here as being a college football prophet, I just want to say Arkansas is not going to beat LSU.
Okay.
Okay. So we got LSU in, Ohio State in, Alabama's out. That's 2 spots.
They gone.
Clemson.
They're in.
They're in.
Yeah.
I don't even know what to say about that. They're in.
They're playing Wofford in November on Saturday. So
yeah.
Cool.
Cool. Yeah. Well, they're playing Wofford because their conference schedule is so difficult. They need a week off.
Yeah.
They need mental health.
Sorry. Yeah. Dang, Clemson's taking one.
All right, so we got 3 in.
Mm-hmm.
As you see, the odds here, they're dwindling. We got 1 spot left. We got a bunch of teams left. Penn State is one of those teams. Upset City in Minneapolis, Minnesota on November 9th.
Oh, baby.
That's right. The undefeated Gophers are going to be motivated by College Game Day spitting in their face and going to LSU, Alabama instead.
Yeah, there's no way they're going to Minneapolis.
No, they're not.
You can't.
They're not.
You can't.
But you know what? They might wish they had when the Gophers knock off Penn State. And then Penn State is going to lose to number 2 Ohio State on November 23rd. Nittany Lions are out.
They go.
Florida. They're going to lose to Georgia this week. See you later.
They go.
And Gunter can tell us why here in a little bit. Oregon, sneaky, should not lose. There's actually absolutely no reason for them to lose. So that means they're definitely going to lose.
They almost lost to Washington State last weekend.
I know. And so if they don't lose to USC on Saturday, and I'll get to that USC game in a bit, then at Arizona State on November 23rd, and Utah's going to knock them off in the Pac-12 championship game.
Okay.
Oregon's gone. They're out of the way.
Okay.
Forget about Oregon. Georgia is going to run the table until the SEC championship. Then they're going to lose to LSU. 2 losses, one of which is to South Carolina, who isn't even bowl eligible. See you later, Georgia.
They go.
Utah.
Yes, I was hoping you would circle back here.
Well, you know, the list is long.
You are,
so
and you are the expert, so.
Utah is going to lose at Washington on Saturday because that's the worst thing that could possibly happen for the Pac-12, and Murphy's Law applies to anything that Larry Scott touches. After that, they're going to run the table, but with 2 losses.
They gone.
Which brings us back to good old Oklahoma Boomer Sooner.
Mm-hmm.
OU is going to throttle Iowa State coming off a bye week.
Correct.
They're going to get angry Jalen. And you don't want angry. You don't like Jalen when he's angry.
He's probably living in the weight room right now.
Yeah, I don't even think he's left.
Yeah.
I think he's been in the squat rack for like 6 days. So they're gonna smoke Iowa State, and then they get a top 10 road victory at Baylor, which will surprise people like Paul Feinbaum, who is under the mistaken impression that they don't have any quality opponents left on their schedule.
Feinbaum said that?
Feinbaum said that, but he forgot about Baylor. All Baylor has to do is beat West Virginia tonight, and then...
They will, but they won't cover.
Oh, that's fine.
Tease.
That's fine. They knock off West Virginia. They're undefeated when Oklahoma plays them. Then Oklahoma takes them out behind the woodshed out there in Waco, Texas, and reminds them that they're Baylor.
Mm-hmm.
They hammer TCU on November 23rd, inspired, no doubt, by having me in the building watching the game.
Very nice.
I'm sure that Lincoln will mix that into his pregame speech at some point and let them know. And then they will survive Oklahoma State at the end of the year. Gets a little weird in that game, but the Pokes fumble the ball like every other possession because that's what they do. And so Oklahoma finishes the regular season with wins in all of their remaining games. Meanwhile, K-State loses at Texas, but they beat KU, West Virginia, Texas Tech, and Iowa State. They finished 9-3. They're ranked in the top 15. Oklahoma's only loss to a top 15 opponent on the road. Texas wins out. May surprise people to hear me say that. Texas wins out, but because it's Texas, everyone talks themselves back into loving Texas. They go into the Big 12 championship game. I think they're going to be ranked like number 13. It's either going to be 12 or 13.
That high?
It's a little foggy. I can't quite. The crystal ball's a little foggy, but I think it's going to be number 13, 9-3 Texas, because it's Texas.
You're
for
right.
no other reason. And then Oklahoma is going to dominate them and punch their ticket to the playoff again. Bama, Ohio State, Clemson, Oklahoma. Nothing changes.
Okay.
There you go.
Everything pretty much played out how I thought it would, except I thought you were going to say that Oklahoma would play Baylor in the Big 12 championship game, and that Oklahoma would be Baylor's only loss, and then Baylor's still a top 15 team.
I like that, and that would have been cleaner, but
not as fun.
Not as fun. I don't know. Give me Texas at Baylor, right? Texas can't be. They can't go from being back to bad, can they?
Oh, they can. Oh, they can, and they might just do it. They might just say, you know what? We're doing it.
They could realistically lose 3 of their 4 remaining games.
Poor Sammy Ellinger. He said we're back in the most cringeworthy moment of all time.
I love it so
after the
much.
Georgia, and then he threw 4 picks against TCU.
I love everything about it.
Oh, that was so great. In those ugly uniforms. No, you look the past couple times Oklahoma's made the playoff, they lost a game. And everyone said the same thing.
Yeah, they're always out.
They're out. Yeah,
Baker Mayfield, the year Baker Mayfield took them to the playoffs, they fell as low as 15.
Mm-hmm.
I think that was week 1 of the college football playoff.
It was.
They were 15.
I remember last year, because there's been, I think, at least the past like 3 years, there's been a team that made the playoff that was like ranked outside the top 10 and made the Final Four in the first set of rankings. So yeah, it's absolutely doable. And what'd they fall to? 10?
Well, we'll see. I think they're 10 in the AP.
Yeah.
And then obviously the college football playoff rankings come out after this week.
Mm-hmm.
In other news, Arkansas head coach Chad Morris guaranteed a victory on Saturday.
Yeah, he did. Yes, he did. And
Hogs.
I am all the way in on it. For some reason, like, a lot of times when people guarantee things, I'm like, ugh, they probably shouldn't have done that.
You like it this time, though.
I love it for some reason. I believe him. I just feel like he's at that point where he knows he has to win.
Yeah.
He has to win, or he will no longer have it. He will be unemployed. And I think they're going with my favorite quarterback, John Jingleheimer Schmidt. Because he looked good in the second half against Alabama.
Yeah. He's a good freaking player, dude. He's 5'10", or 5'9".
Did
maybe.
you see him like chirping back with some of the players and stuff?
Dude, he's a Jones. He's got swagger for days. Come on.
Usually, I detest when players are like chirping or like celebrate. Like DBs are really good at this, being down like 25 and then celebrating when they break up one pass after getting torched all afternoon.
And the guy overthrows the ball.
Yeah,
and they're like, "Oh, incomplete."
Nope.
Told you.
Not today. He ran out of bounds one time when they were still down 41-0 after like gaining like 15 yards, and he was chirping with dudes on the Alabama sideline, and I thought it was awesome. I was just laughing. I thought it was great. Usually I hate that.
Well, it was 0-0 for him.
That's true.
You know?
You guys won the second half, didn't you? Or tied?
Tied,
yeah.
41-0 to 48-7, right? So,
yeah. They should go with him. So they go with him. They get that extra spark. Mississippi State just feels like they're stuck in the mud. Like the offense is just like stuck in the mud. It can't get going.
Yep.
They've already lost to Tennessee in the second part of the season.
Mm-hmm.
Give me the Hogs. It's in Stark Vegas, right?
No, it's in Fayetteville. I'll be in it.
Oh,
I'm going,
that's right.
man. I'm going to be there.
Yeah.
Chad guarantees victory. I can't not go.
This is lock of the century. This isn't, so it's 7.5 point spread. Forget that. Forget it. Money line, Arkansas.
Look, in all seriousness, I hope to God that John Stephen Jones and not Ben Hicks gets a start here. Starkle should never step on a field in Fayetteville ever again. I think KJ might get some playing time this week too. I'm very hopeful. I mean, like, what could it harm? He has 4 games he can still play. He hasn't played yet. Mm-hmm. Let's just see what he's got. Hell, you might have Deshaun Watson on your team. You don't even know about it yet.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the dream for Chad Morris, right? Like, let me please find another Deshaun. That was the idea when they went after KJ when he was only a 3-star. Ended up being a 4-star. Just put him out there. Let's dream up a package for him. 8 plays total.
Yeah.
He can't possibly mess that up.
Let's do it. I'm all in on Arkansas this week.
I love it. All right. Shouts to Chad Morris. Going to beat Mississippi State this week and then beat Western Kentucky and save his job. And we're back.
Beat Ty Story in the revenge game.
We're all the way back at that
Heck
point.
Yeah.
Everything's coming up Hogs. All right. We got a lot more to do. Gunter is still going to come on the show. Before we do any of that, though, I want to make sure that we set aside some time here because we have great guests and we have a lot to talk about, quite frankly, within the CAA, which means that it is
Colonial time.
We are entering the stretch run of the FCS season, and it is one that has been full of surprises within the CAA. Look, Towson came into the year national title aspirations, and injury spoils that. Villanova shocks everyone on their way to number 5 before a key injury may or may not have spoiled that run as well. That one's still very much TBD, as the Wildcats played about as well as you can without winning a game last week. Meanwhile, New Hampshire, rough start without Coach Mack, but they've come alive under interim head coach Ricky Santos, very much in the playoff hunt. Albany, who was for many a total afterthought, struck gold at the quarterback spot with Jeff Undercuffler, and the Great Danes also find themselves on the cusp of a playoff push.
It's awesome. I love it.
Richmond responded after a tough start. Delaware worked through some adversity. They're still in the hunt. What else? Raise your hand if you had Stony Brook as the second best team in the league.
You did.
Well, not starting out the year, I didn't.
Oh, well,
on
few
this
weeks
day,
ago.
I absolutely do,
Yeah.
and I'll get to that. The point is, the CAA's depth, always impressive, but this year it's out of control. And as a result, the playoff race within the league, wide open, completely wide open, which is going to make for some very fun football as we enter into the month of November.
Yeah, we're looking at, they're going to get at least 4 teams in and could get as many as 6 again for the second year in a row. But it is, just when you think you have the league figured out.
Every week.
Yeah.
Every week I think I have it figured out.
Yeah.
And the only thing that I do know is that JMU is going to continue to win.
Correct. I think they're going to run the table here. They finally get their bye week. 9 games before their bye week. That's crazy.
Well earned.
Yes. And then, how about the cardiac Seawolves?
Dude, I couldn't love watching a program more.
They, the Rhode Island comeback on 4th and 6 with like 15 seconds left, the Tyquell Fields run, that was incredible. And then a couple times against JMU fighting back in the second half to send that to overtime and nearly made it double overtime with that 4th down pass.
Yep.
And then just an incredible dime from Fields to set up that game-winning field goal against Villanova on Saturday. So I can't say enough about him.
Well, you have provided me, sir, with the absolute best possible case scenario for a transition into an interview that, quite frankly, I've been working on for several weeks. This is a guy that I love watching every Saturday, and that is Tyquell Fields. We're fortunate enough to get him today. So before we do anything else, let's go ahead and let's do that.
Let's do it.
Well, Kyle, it's a big day because we have the Tyquell Fields joining us on today's episode of Colonial Time. Man, thanks so much for joining us. Much appreciated.
No doubt. Nice having you guys too.
Absolutely. We've been chasing you down now for about 3 or 4 weeks. You didn't know about it, but we're really happy to get you here.
Thank you.
Hey, look, man, you're 8 games into your first year as a starting quarterback at Stony Brook, and to say that you've taken the league and the country by storm would be an understatement. So let's start there. Coming into the season, obviously some unknowns around the program and maybe even, for yourself. What was your expectation for yourself and for this team, coming into the year? What were you hoping to accomplish?
Everybody knew we lost big parts of our offense at running back and receiver, and we graduated a lot of seniors. So I think that, coming into the season, people thought that we were young and, not that experienced. But I knew that everybody was motivated and ready to show other people who they were and what they can do and what they could put on film. And I feel like we were motivated. We were a motivated young team, and we're showing that right now. So everything's coming along.
Yeah, I wanted to ask you that, and I'll go ahead and skip to it since you brought it up. Obviously, for many, you've been a revelation, but you in particular have always been a winner. You won at high school, and it's very clear that you were prepared for the moment. But again, the talk in the preseason was that Stony Brook is inexperienced. Nobody was really sure what to expect from you guys. So I guess safe to say that you did pay attention to that, and it did put a chip on your shoulder?
Yeah, definitely. Obviously, I'm a competitor. Any competitor would put a chip on their shoulder if they're hearing that they're inexperienced. They might not be as good as they were last year, and so we just took that approach and took it with a storm. So, yeah.
You're on the other side of a very difficult 3-game run. Against arguably the 3 toughest teams on your schedule. Obviously, JMU, New Hampshire, and Villanova. You throw for 315 yards in a loss to JMU, and you guys gave them all they wanted. Then you run into maybe an even better defense in New Hampshire. That one goes down to the wire. Take me there. Disappointing loss. You're second in a row after a really good start. The offense doesn't necessarily have the day that you're used to having, and you're about to go on the road and face number 5 Villanova. What's going through your head? What's the mood in the locker room? How are y'all feeling, a week ago today?
Playing this game, especially in the CAA, you got to take it one game at a time, and that's what we were doing. Obviously it was a tough loss against JMU. We brought them down to overtime, and it is what it is. That's the game of football, and so we just want to move forward each and every game. And going into the UNH game, we felt pretty confident. Obviously we wanted to win, but we were disappointed that we didn't get the win. So that put an even bigger chip on our shoulder. And next week we knew that this game is pretty important to keep our playoff hopes alive. So I put that in my team's ears, and we got even more motivated. So I think that from here on out, everybody should be on the same page. Everybody should be ready to go.
All right, let's take it a few beats further then. Fourth quarter, 9 minutes to go, 35-20, y'all are down. What sparked the comeback like the one that you engineered?
During the Villanova game.
Yeah.
It was a pretty good game all game. 2 good teams playing against each other, 2 good offenses, two good defenses, and when it came down to that point, I felt like our 2-minute drill is pretty it's pretty good. I felt like everybody was in sync, everybody's on the same page, and going into halftime we were down. So the point of emphasis was believe, just keep playing, play by play, and just keep believing. And it came down to that point, and I felt like everybody brought into the believing part of it, and we pulled it off.
Now, obviously, that's not your guys' first comeback of the year. You battled back a few times against JMU to force overtime, and then obviously the run against Rhode Island on 4th down with under 15 seconds to play. Walk us through what's going on in your mind in these late game situations, and how are you able to stay so cool under the pressure?
When it comes down to it, I feel like you know, my team really counts on me to, you know, to make plays at the end of the day. And so I don't try to get too high. I don't try to get too low. I just try to stay level-headed for my team and, you know, the fans and my family. And I feel like that's what keeps me level-headed. I mean, if you get too high, you know, obviously things are gonna fall apart. You're gonna start thinking too much, rushing everything. So just slowing the game down is just, you know, a key component to that happening.
Yeah, I mean, the game is never over with you behind the center. Stony Brook is now 5-3. Everything's out in front of you. Kyle, I know, you know, I don't want to step on your question here, but, you know, my question is from the perspective of a leader. You know, how do you approach the upcoming stretch run? I know Kyle wanted to dig into that as well.
Yeah, you know, you mentioned going into the Villanova game, you knew your playoff hopes were kind of on the line there, and then you look at the last 4 games of the season, all against teams with winning records. How do you kind of take it one game at a time and just focus on what's in front of you?
You know, the point of emphasis in practice is, like you said, taking it one game at a time and letting the team know that that's really how it has to be, and especially in the CAA, because every team is good. There's no weak link in the CAA. So not talking about the next game is really important. You know, just focusing on that specific opponent each week is very key to that.
Well, this week you guys have an opponent that has they're in a real similar spot to you in Richmond. What do we know about Richmond? You know, obviously as you guys wrap up this week of practice and your preparation for them, what can you tell me about the Spiders and their defense and what you're expecting to see from them?
I mean, I know they're a disciplined defense. You know, they have good DBs, a good D line. But you know, we schemed it up, so I think we should be good. You know, they have really good coaching, and on the offensive side of the ball is the same as well. So we just have to go in there with the right attitude and the right confidence to get the job done.
The Seawolves meet Richmond on Saturday. Major playoff implications in a game that can be watched live on FloFootball and the Flo Sports app. Also, spoiler alert: the guy we're talking to right now, the 2020 CAA Preseason Offensive Player of the Year, book it.
I like it.
Hey, Tyquell, appreciate your time, man. Thanks so much for joining us on the show today. Best of luck, not only Saturday, but the rest of the way, dude.
Thank you. Appreciate that.
Absolutely. Tyquell Fields, thank you so much for joining the show. Brian Miller, shout out to you for setting us up. Look, dude, Stony Brook, you know, you said it. I say it every week. I really think they're the second best team in the league behind JMU, and that's no disrespect to Villanova or New Hampshire or, you know, for that matter, Towson or Richmond. It's just they're so explosive offensively. They've been able to weather the storm in the backfield through a couple of injuries. And here we sit. They knock off Villanova. They've got a huge matchup this week with Richmond. Mm-hmm. And Fields continues every week to do his thing, which is throw for over 300 yards and run when he needs to. And that's the key point there, is a lot of our highlight reel plays that we think of when we think Tyquell Fields are running plays. You mentioned the Rhode Island play. But the guy is a pocket passing quarterback that is extremely accurate, big arm, and with him behind center, anything is possible, in my opinion, for the Seawolves.
Absolutely. He wants to beat you with his arm first and foremost. It's when he's forced to that he beats you with his legs, and he beats you a lot with his legs. And as you said, anything is possible. Look at what they did to James Madison. They had them completely on the ropes, and I don't think there's any question James Madison is at least, at worst, the second best team in the country.
Absolutely.
Possibly the best. So for them to push them as hard as they did, you absolutely believe that getting in the playoffs and being in the right spot, this team can be really dangerous and make a deep run.
Without a doubt. You mentioned the playoffs. I do want to dig into the playoff picture a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
Let's talk about who we think we have in right now, who's on the cusp of being in, and who can still play their way into the playoffs as we kind of get through the month of November with everything still on the table for so much of the league. Right off the bat, I mean, obviously, you know, you've got Villanova in. You've got JMU, probably the number 2 overall seed.
Yep.
Stony Brook, very likely in. And this is obviously assuming that everybody handles their business down the stretch. New Hampshire, got to be in. Am I right?
No, I agree with you. They do have a couple, big swing games coming down the stretch. The one that, and I totally agree with all your other picks because I think those are pretty obvious, but Albany.
Absolutely.
Right now at 5-3, I think, and 3-1 in the CAA, I think they have to be in.
If the playoffs started today, they're in.
Yes, absolutely. Now it's going to be determined this last couple weeks. Obviously, they have Maine, Delaware, New Hampshire, Stony Brook.
Yeah, massive stretch.
All 4 of those teams are in the playoff hunt right now.
Yep.
So you think they need to probably at least go 500 in those 4 games. That gets you at 7-5 with some nice wins. You're probably in.
Yeah. Let's talk about Maine because you brought them up the other day, and my notes here I've got inner, the number 2 overall seed, obviously JMU, and then not dead. The not deads, Richmond, Delaware, Towson, can all still play their way into the playoffs.
Yep.
A very clear path. I wasn't even really thinking about Maine anymore at this point, but you brought them up yesterday.
I was looking at their schedule and then what they've done the past couple weeks. It seems like that offense has kind of found its groove again. That quarterback, especially, you hang 44 on FBS Liberty, and then you put up 34 against William and Mary. Now, like we just said with Albany, the games aren't easy. It's at Albany, at Elon, then Rhode Island, and at New Hampshire. So 3 of the 4 on the road. But there's absolutely a path. You win those 4. You probably got to win out. You're sitting at 7-5 with wins over probably a couple other playoff teams.
Yeah.
You're going to get in.
Yeah, I totally agree. I mean, you just forget, Tyquell made the point in the CAA, everybody can beat everybody almost. And that's really the thing that you forget, or at least I've forgotten from week to week, is a team will have a big performance, and I'll think, okay, this team has arrived. Or a team will have a tough loss, and I'm like, oh, they might be in trouble.
Yeah.
But the way that it shakes out in the CAA, everybody still has a chance because everybody is a playoff caliber team.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, essentially everyone but Rhode Island and William and Mary is still in business.
Yep.
And I was still trying to talk myself into Rhode Island like 2 weeks ago.
You were.
We have really and truly some key matchups going to be on FloFootball this week that I just wanted to kind of talk through. Stony Brook, Richmond, obviously we brought it up with Tyquell. The winner of this game is going to be feeling really good. The difference, of course, is that Richmond's still going to have to go through Villanova and JMU, whereas Stony Brook already split with those 2 opponents. And for Stony Brook, it's, all right, listen, we gave JMU all they wanted. We took the game from Villanova. Now we just need to handle our business against Richmond, Towson, Delaware, and Albany. Not an easy path. I mean, again, that's anywhere from 1 to 4 playoff teams, depending on how it shakes out. But all of it comes down really to this week, because if Stony Brook wins this week, they're feeling really good. If Richmond wins this week, I think they're feeling good as well.
Yeah, if Stony Brook gets to 6-3, you're feeling really good about that, and that you're probably going to get at least another one of the final 3 games to get to 7 wins. Yeah, Richmond, after they kind of blew that Yale game late, I was like, I don't know if they are still going to have that fight,
Right, that was a
left
tough
in
loss.
the season. And Delaware was kind of had gotten back in the win column by knocking off a ranked New Hampshire team. So you kind of felt like those 2 teams were going in opposite directions. And then Richmond just goes out there and pretty much controlled the game from start to finish.
Yeah, dominated.
Yeah.
And, with them, obviously, it all comes back to the defense. And they've gotten some great quarterback play of late. Mancuso played good last week, which was good to see from him.
Yeah.
But defensively, man, with that defensive line, obviously our guy Mo Jackson at the end spot, and then that's an NFL guy. Anytime you got an NFL guy on the end of your defensive line, at this level, that's going to be a problem for opposing offenses. We mentioned Delaware and Towson. That game this week, Kyle Kinsey said it. I agree. I think it's a de facto elimination game.
Yep.
Which, for Towson, that's not something that we necessarily saw coming. It's a team that at least I anticipated could be playing in Frisco next month. The Simpson injury changed everything for them. Delaware, obviously, a much different team without Nolan Henderson behind center. I put some feelers out this morning, 9:30 a.m. As of that time, he is questionable for Saturday, so we'll see. Would love to see Nolan back behind center for Delaware, because they're just so much more explosive offensively with him back there.
Much more dynamic offense, yeah.
So Delaware Towson, obviously, again, de facto elimination game. Loser, we could probably stop talking about for playoff berths. But the winner, you got to be feeling pretty good either way. I mean, it's Towson either reimagining their offense as a pass-heavy offense now, and you can never count out Tom Flacco. On the other hand, the wrinkle that Henderson gives Delaware makes them an altogether different team that we started the year with. Who do you like more there down the stretch?
I like Towson more down the stretch. I would actually like the way they played last week against JMU. They were leading 10-7 in the second quarter, and they moved the ball really well. Just couldn't find the end zone after that first Flacco touchdown pass. I like them in this game, and then I like their stretch run a little bit better too. So you get this Delaware game, you go at Stony Brook, which won't be easy, but then you get William and Mary and Elon. And then looking at Delaware's path, it's not as friendly as I struggle to pull it up here, but Albany, Stony Brook, Villanova. That's not.
Yeah, you don't love the finish with Stony Brook and Villanova there.
Correct.
But again, I'm at this point, I'm just being redundant. But what that offense looks like with Henderson when he's going is something different. I mean, and that Delaware team can play with Villanova. They can play with Stony Brook. So we'll see. But it all comes down to this week, because if he's not healthy, or even if he is and they don't get it done, then that probably spells the end for Delaware's playoff chances. Albany hosts Maine in a game that could realistically be a must-win for both teams. I think
for Maine, absolutely.
Villanova is on the road at New Hampshire. Winner there, feeling great about their situation moving forward. The loser, it's not a crippling loss by any stretch of the imagination, obviously.
No,
but you're feeling a little additional pressure.
Much more crippling to New Hampshire than Villanova, because then Villanova loses, you're still sitting at 6-3. But New Hampshire probably needs this one.
Yeah, I mean, it would definitely be good for the resume. And Villanova, obviously injury of their own with Justin Covington. That's a different animal than what New Hampshire would have gotten otherwise. Although they have gotten some really nice contributions from a pair of freshman running backs. So Wildcats they've rebounded nicely. It wasn't a bad loss against Stony Brook last week. I mean, again, Tyquell does that to people.
Yeah, he does. Done it to a few teams this year.
Elon hosts William and Mary. That's a game that Phoenix has to have.
Yeah,
they're not out of it either. I mean,
they're sitting at 4-4 right now. They've won their last two. They look like the offense is back on track, and then they just continue to turn teams over, get all kinds of turnovers. So Elon has to have this one, stay in the playoff hunt.
Everything that just came out of my mouth, and URI Merrimack. Get the Rams on the board this week with Merrimack coming to town. All of that live on FloFootball.com, on the Flo Sports app. We've got features on Stony Brook running back Tyson Lawton, Richmond's Aaron Dykes, Elon interception machine, Greg Leaks Jr. All that's on the site right now as well. So you know the deal. Keep it locked on Flo Football, and we'll take y'all all the way to Frisco. As promised, the one and only Michael Gunter back on the show today, sporting a pretty gnarly mustache, dude.
Yeah, this first time having a mustache, so I figured I'd keep it all week.
Yeah,
maybe
awesome.
All November, right?
You should.
No shave November?
Yeah, anybody that tells you otherwise is really just jealous.
If you say so, because no one has told me that they're jealous.
Look, man, obviously we bring you on this week because it's a very momentous occasion. It is the world's largest cocktail party. It is Georgia and Florida in Jacksonville. I need Georgia to win by my calculations, so I need you to tell me how that's going to happen.
Okay, and you need them for Oklahoma reasons?
Yep.
Not because you're a Georgia fan reason?
Well, I'm a secondary Georgia fan.
You are. Just like I picked up Oklahoma for you.
Yeah, I like the Dogs. But yeah, more selfish than that.
Yeah, I mean, in all honesty, I think most people thought that it would be Georgia coming in with more momentum and Florida probably coming in with less, maybe like a 3-20 type thing. And it's like Georgia's gotten themselves into this every year with Kirby Smart. So got smacked at Auburn 2 years ago, then come back and have a pivotal game. Get smacked at LSU last year, come back, have a pivotal game against Florida. This year, they didn't get smacked, but they also didn't play on the road against a ranked team. So I don't know. Like I would like to trust in the fact that they can make those adjustments. They had a game after South Carolina against Kentucky where we thought we'd see them open it up because that's all the criticism they got after that game, and it was a monsoon. And so Fromm goes and throws for like 40 yards. I'm not saying that was on purpose, but we still have no idea if they're making the adjustments or not.
Yeah, that's the tough thing is, I mean, people that have been openly criticizing Georgia's offense after that Kentucky game obviously didn't watch that Kentucky game.
Yeah,
because it wasn't a normal game. But I wonder, to what degree are you still concerned about the offense?
Very. Like, just to be honest with you, I think that we still don't have receivers that can win one-on-one matchups consistently and get open. So when you have that and you don't have like an established tight end, not because I'm not saying they're not talented, like a lot of people thought Charlie Warner was going to break out this year, but because the schemes don't have us throwing over the middle and you lose the outside, you're kind of stuck. And if you can't drop it off and have Swift get 5-10 yards consistently, which isn't going to happen every time you throw the ball, you take sacks, you make mistakes, and the offense becomes stagnant. On top of that, it seems like, and I don't know if it's because Kirby was under Saban and Saban kind of held the reins of his offense for a while until he let it go and let them open it up. LSU did the same thing until they hired Joe Brady this year to open the offense up, and you saw it happen. If Kirby's still putting like the stranglehold on the offense, they're going to continue to be stagnant. I don't care how talented you are.
Where is James Cook in all of this? He seems like a very obvious. If you don't like your receivers, that's fine. If you don't like your receivers, let's utilize the running backs.
Yeah.
Get them involved in the passing game. Seems to me like that would be a viable solution, but I don't see Cook nearly as much as I'd like.
No, and I think most Georgia fans feel the same way. Even just analysts feel the same way. I mean, he's touching the ball, 3-4 times a game, which is nothing.
He's virtually invisible.
And just to add to the fact that, the offense has been not only stagnant but seemingly predictable. Now, I can say it's predictable just, as a fan. Obviously, I'm not out there calling plays. I really know what I'm talking about. But it's like every time James Cook gets on the field, which is 3 or 4 times, he touches the ball every time. So there's no creativity in getting him out there to at least run routes to fool the offense. He's silky smooth every time he does touch it. So I don't know if it's a blocking issue or they have loyalty to Harrion and Zamir White to play behind Swift. But I also think that they're going to try and get Swift the ball 25, 30 times this game too. But I don't know. I don't know why James Cook doesn't play enough. He's something that's a little bit different than every other running back we have on the roster, which is kind of why you expect to see him more. But I don't know.
Yeah, it's weird.
It is weird.
Colby and I were not the nicest to Kirby Smart. I don't know if you heard.
I watched. I muted it and just watched.
Fair. Do you want to defend him? I don't want to say choosing Fromm, but sticking with Fromm instead of maybe giving Justin Fields more reps or realizing maybe what they had, like a Trevor Lawrence, Kelly Bryant situation.
Yep. So, I mean, it's easy to say now, looking back on it and comparing the 2 seasons, you knew this was going to happen when they left. The same thing, you thought it was going to happen when to Easton a little bit more, but he's kind of gone off and done his thing on the West Coast. I defend the decision. I just don't really know what went into it behind the scenes because it felt like on the field he wasn't getting the reps like you thought, and so we didn't get to see it, and the fans didn't get to make an assessment for ourselves. But at the same time, you see him every day in practice. Last year we were a nationally contending team, so you have to go with your guy. You can't just say this year will be a trial run. You have to try and win every year with your best players, and I think that's the decision he made. And credit to Fields should go if he's not going to win the job. Fields probably thought, and I think most people thought, that Fromm was no guarantee to leave after his junior year. Well, clearly he's not a guarantee right now. So,
well, let me press into that a little bit because Kyle brought up the Clemson thing, the Trevor Lawrence, Kelly Bryant situation. Clemson was in the same spot as Georgia in that it was a win now for them as well. Dabo made the decision to pull the trigger and go against the grain, taking out a guy that had just led Clemson to a college football playoff and replacing him with a true freshman, which was the exact same conundrum that Kirby had. Kirby went the opposite direction. He stayed loyal to the guy in front of his freshman phenom.
Yep.
Now you're seeing a guy who's very much in the Heisman race, but he's not on your team.
Right. I'm with you. I totally hear you. I think the conservative nature has something to do with it also, in that Fromm is part of the team. This is built around Fromm's skill set in terms of we don't employ a lot of dual threat quarterback systems. Whenever we did try to do it, it felt forced. You see Justin Fields take it and almost immediately quarterback draw and not really have the ability to look downfield. Whether that was schematic or not, I'm not totally sure. But it kind of feels like the offense was made for Fromm rather in Clemson. But, that's a quarterback's dream to play in a more open system where both quarterbacks, I think, would thrive. And also, Trevor Lawrence didn't have, if I remember correctly, he didn't have multiple times where he went in and he looked shaky. kind of like he had played against some cupcakes, but it was clear in practice that he was the right guy.
Yeah.
It felt like Fields' confidence also got shook because he'd be put in sometimes, actual real game scenarios, not against, cupcake you, and he would struggle some. And so it was like there wasn't like a clear flow, which I would put on Kirby. Mm-hmm. So I just think they were handled differently. I still think we haven't seen enough of Fields for me to be the judge, but maybe I'm just biased and try as hard as I can not to watch Ohio State games.
Oh, don't say that next to Kyle Brackey. He's the president of the Justin Fields fan club.
I know, it's hard not to be.
All right, look, I'll let you off the hot seat. Let's make some picks.
All right, let's do it. For Georgia, Florida first?
Yeah, go ahead and give me the Georgia, Florida pick.
I don't think they'll cover. They get 6 points. That's
Does
a
it
lot.
bother you that the country music group goes by Florida Georgia line and not Georgia Florida line?
No, I want nothing to do with that band to begin with, so I'm happy. They can have Florida. We'll have Georgia, Florida for the game. They can have Florida, Georgia for the band name.
Okay, that's fair.
God, that band.
Are they from Georgia or Florida?
Or clearly they're from Florida.
They're from the line.
On the Florida side of the line. What's going to happen? How's it going to go? Tell me exactly. I want to know exactly how it's going to happen because I'm going to leave here and I'm going to go bet accordingly.
All right, this is what's going to happen. I think both teams will be stagnant to begin with. I think that Florida won't be able to have a consistent running game. And Trask, even though he can throw the ball downfield, he has thrown, 4 turnovers. Thrown 4 picks. I think he gets a little bit uncomfortable. And turnover 2 at the end. I think Rodrigo gets redemption for the missed kick against South Carolina. And Dogs win by 4. Up 1. He hits the 3 to solidify it late in the game.
Is that really redemption?
Ish.
I mean,
I don't know. To at least
that's
get
just
people
insurance, man.
No, obviously we did not lose that game because of him at all. I think that if we had to be in that position to lose to South Carolina where we could blame it on our field goal kicker,
I don't think it was Rodrigo's fault
that's
either.
on us. But
Rodrigo kicked the ball.
I know he kicked the ball on that play, but they wouldn't have been in that scenario if things hadn't been done differently during the game.
Mm-hmm. And I'm not saying that we didn't lose.
You're obviously both right. It's just way more fun to blame it on the kicker. All right. Dogs by 4.
Dogs by 4.
There you go. Take it to the bank. I love it. I think that I'm concerned about Georgia's ability to get guys open downfield, which I already kind of alluded to. If you're having trouble getting open against South Carolina, these Florida DBs are something different. So if you're not able to get anything going in the passing game, now you're going to have trouble running the football as well. Now you're becoming one-dimensional, which, again, not something that you want to be against Florida. Because that is one of the top 5 defenses in the country. I think we can all agree on that, and they're good from top to bottom, back to front. So I have real concerns about Georgia getting one-dimensional in that game. I think that could flip it. But I also don't think that there's anybody on the offensive side of the ball for Florida that has anything for that Georgia defense. So ultimately, I think it's a low-scoring game. I'm going to give Rodrigo the real redemption, though. Let's say tie game, 17-all, Rodrigo at the buzzer, Dogs by 3.
I like it.
I like Georgia in this game, too. Kyle Trask has been effective while he's in. You could argue maybe be better than Felipe Franks, but I like Georgia in this spot with that defense.
Okay, cover 4. I actually have picks this week, breaking tradition. And I'll start it out because Kyle has one of the same ones I have, and I don't want him to steal my pick. I'm going to steal his pick.
Go for it.
I got the Hogs.
Wait, that's the man of you.
I got the Hogs. 7.5-point Dogs at home. Wait, is that your? We might be okay here. I think this.
No,
is,
we're good. We're good. You're going spread, right?
Yeah, I'm going spread. Yeah. Chad Morris guaranteed victory.
He did?
Guaranteed to win.
He did.
Really?
Yep.
He did.
Yep.
Oh, hell yeah.
Yep.
I have not seen this. That's awesome.
When I leave here today, I am getting in the car and I'm driving to McAlester, Oklahoma, where I will stay in a lovely La Quinta, and then I will finish up the second half of that 10-hour drive tomorrow, and I will be in attendance for Chad Morris's first SEC victory as head coach of Arkansas, except, wait for it, they don't win. They lead late, and then they go to Starkville. Starkville throws a pick. Gets returned for a touchdown. Mississippi State wins. But Arkansas covers.
I didn't know we had to be this specific on all of our picks. This is like the Colby Bowl, though, right? Like Mississippi State Arkansas, this is
Oklahoma, Arkansas would be the Colby Bowl.
Okay.
This is just a bowl. Some Cheerios,
okay.
maybe some bananas, whatever you're into.
Well, since we're on the game, let me just jump to my very good dog, because a Chad Morris guarantee means an outright win. He said, because a reporter asked him about the quarterback position, he said, quote, "Well, first of all, we're going to win this football game this week." I believe him.
Boom.
I believe him, because they're going to play my favorite quarterback, John Jacob Jingleheimer Schmidt, Stephen Jones. And he's going to be cocky. He's going to be running all over the place. He's going to be talking smack. Jerry might be there.
Jerry's going to be in the building.
We can't rule it out. They're going to win outright. Like I said.
Jerry's not going to stay at La Quinta and McAllister, Oklahoma.
No,
as
he's
well.
not. I think I said
He
this
doesn't even let his
earlier.
dog stay there.
Forget the spread. Yeah, I guess you can sprinkle some on that too if you want to win double. But money line. Arkansas money line.
I love it. Just I hope that John Jacob Jingleheimer, John Smith Jones, Stephen Jones, is in for the whole game. Because if they start playing musical quarterbacks and we end up with Hicks or Starkle in the game, I've seen that before. It ends very poorly. Your turn.
That's man. I wish I knew that he guaranteed that.
The Georgia fan is speechless that he
I'm just like
guaranteed a win.
I can't even remember the last time a coach ever guaranteed a win. Like I
can.
love it.
Doug Peterson guaranteed a win before the Eagles played the Cowboys, and then he tried to walk it back, and then the Cowboys beat the hell out of the Eagles.
Did not work out too well, yeah.
Go Cowboys.
I like Boston College +3 at Syracuse. I didn't love all the games that I saw, but
BC.
Steve Adazio is 12-1-1 against the spread in his past 14 games as an underdog. That's like Coach O, Tom Herman underdog stats. So, BC, I think everyone wrote them off immediately, which, I mean, you should have when they lost to Kansas. But since then, they played really close games against Wake Forest and Louisville. They beat NC State handedly. They got crushed at Clemson, but that's fine. Syracuse is 0-4 in the ACC. They haven't touched anyone. They're averaging less than 16 points a game the last 3 games. BC still has a potent running attack. So I like them as an underdog in the road at Syracuse.
There you go.
I like that. Syracuse stinks. I don't know what's up with that.
Yeah, how did that happen?
I don't know.
It's like we were talking about Dino Babers here last year as a rising coach.
Yeah, Dino should have got out of town.
I'm going to go to the Big Ten, where Indiana is an 11-point favorite against Northwestern. Yeah, that's crazy that Indiana is an 11-point favorite. But Indiana has won 6 games this year. They just won at Nebraska, and Northwestern can't score.
Which makes it hard to win.
Yeah.
Which they haven't been doing.
They have scored more than 10 points twice. One was against UNLV when they won 30-14. Another time was when they scored 15 points. So 3, 10, 15, 10, and then the outlier 30, and then 7. They can't score. Indiana's actually a pretty good offensive team, and place is going to be rocking. Bloomington's on fire, apparently, about this team.
Great.
Yeah.
Love it. One time on NCAA football, I rolled with Indiana in my dynasty for a good 7-8 years.
Yeah.
Yeah, won 5 national titles,
Dang.
a couple of
Look at
Heisman
you.
trophies.
You turned them into a football school.
I
did.
guess it probably helped that the player you created was a 99 and everything.
Hey, no, listen, man. I was rocking with Nate Sudfeld there. We were doing big things. Yeah, it was. Yeah, go Hoosiers. Their stadium looked cool on the video game, cooler than it looks in real life. I've got shameless plug live on Flow. UMass plays Liberty.
I like that.
Give me UMass.
I almost put that one down, but I was like, that's too petty.
I know you are. Give me UMass. What is it? You have it at 23.5 or 24?
23.5.
23.5. All right, let's be on the same page here. Give me UMass. I will gladly take the 23.5 points. Minutemen, big victory over Liberty. I have no good reason for that whatsoever, other than I just wanted to mention the game on the pod.
I like it.
Yep. Company man. They got nothing on offense. They can't move the ball. They got even less on defense. They can't stop anybody, but 31-10.
Okay. So I'm giving out Liberty minus 23.5 because of said defense. UMass is dead last in the country in total points a game. 119th in passing yards, and dead last in rushing yards they give up a game.
Okay.
So,
That's not really going to entice people to watch, dude.
yeah, it is.
Lots of points.
Yeah, they're gonna be betting on this game because we're giving them out.
Yeah.
Flames are going to be on fire.
Yeah.
Yeah, Hugh
dude.
Freeze.
If you actually watch UMass play, they have so many guys playing out of position. They got undersized linebackers. They got linebackers that should be defensive ends. They got tackles playing end. They got safeties playing corner. They got running backs on the defensive side of the ball. They're all over the place. It's not a good look.
It's not good.
It's like those little league teams where you just put your best athletes at the skill position, and then the rest of them just have to play like you got your smallest kid like playing center and like.
That's what they pretty much got going on down up there right now. Your turn, my friend.
My next ones are. I really did not love the board, but
Damn, Gunter's got like 45 picks on that piece of paper right there.
But he didn't love the board, I thought.
I didn't say I didn't like all of them. I'd say Utah at Washington.
Okay.
I don't have an awesome reason for it. I mean, I thought that I remember watching some of the Utah USC game, and it was just weird. Like Utah really beat them on the field. They just got penalized a ton, and things just didn't go their way. But besides that, they're crushing everybody. They run the ball really well, which Washington doesn't defend the run very well. And I just don't think that Washington can keep them off the field to where Eason can score enough points to win. So I like Utah.
Yeah, it's tough to go against Utah. That defensive line is the best in the Pac-12, and it's not close. You got to question how Washington's going to look coming off that Oregon loss. That's a game they went into thinking Pac-12 championship. Now they got no shot at the North.
Right.
So I'm with you on that. But just so you know, the path to the playoff I laid out for Oklahoma earlier in the show requires that Washington beat Utah this weekend.
I understand that.
So go Huskies.
Okay, that's fair. That's fair.
Kyle.
I'm going to give this out. Probably will not. You probably won't be listening to this before the game, or you're going to be listening to this after the game.
Yeah, but you
I
just
don't
want to be
know.
on record.
I couldn't
Sure.
get that out.
Yep.
Just want this on record. So 4 years ago, okay, this goes back a little bit. 4 years ago,
4 score.
exactly tonight, Neil Brown led Troy in his first year at Troy into a game with a ranked Appalachian State team on a Thursday night, on a weeknight.
Wow.
And
What happened in that game?
well, they were big underdogs,
Okay.
much like West Virginia is in his first year
Okay.
against a ranked team.
Sure.
And they went to triple overtime with Appalachian State. Now, they lost, but they covered. Great teams cover.
Great teams covered.
West Virginia covers a 19-point spread tonight.
I just can't stop looking at that hat.
It's fire,
That
isn't
is
it?
beautiful. Beautiful.
Shout
work
out
of
to my
art.
dad, and I stole it from him.
Golly.
That is a dad hat.
Yeah.
That's well.
It's like
no.
probably
Kyle's
from
just
the
preparing.
like,
He's
early
like,
90s.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's fine. You wanna roll through the rest of your pick? Oh, you only have one more, right?
I got two more.
2 more. Go ahead,
Covered
knock them
4,
out.
right?
I'm going straight to very good dog after this. So.
And then I have a very good dog. And then, okay, so I have Oregon at USC. I guess I'm just being petty with the two best teams in Pac-12, even though they're both on the road. One of them's bound to lose, but I'm taking both. Hedge
fine.
my picks.
I love it.
And
I can't
then
wait.
my last one's Oklahoma State at -3 at home against TCU. TCU hasn't been able to score against actually semi-decent defenses. I think Oklahoma State's at least in the top 50. I think TCU, they picked Ellinger 4 times to win that game. I don't think that happens again. Maybe somewhat emotional because it's their best win of the season and will be. So I'll take Oklahoma State.
Was it sweet for you as well to see Ellinger play so bad after the whole back thing after the Georgia game last year? Or do you just not care?
I mean, yeah, I just don't. Misery just loves company, and I live in Austin, so
Georgia fans didn't even watch that game. You didn't know?
That's true. They didn't want to be there.
yeah, we've been there, done. We've
Been
already
there,
discussed
done
that.
Yeah.
I love your very good dog. Sneak peek.
Yeah.
My very good dog. Are you ready for very good dog, Kyle?
I already gave out Arkansas, remember?
Oh yeah, you
So
did.
yeah.
You got anything left?
No.
You're
No.
good. You're all set.
I'm good.
Okay. My
Cover
very good
2.
dog.
Yeah.
Very good dog is Southern Cal. Home dog. Getting 4.5.
We can edit either part of ours out.
Yeah.
What
Well, look,
happens.
I don't know if there's a better group of wide receivers, not just in the Pac-12. That's a top 5 in the country wide receiver room in LA. And I think USC is really starting to kind of come together. They're healthy again at quarterback, which helps. And more than anything, and I said this already in the show, anything that can go wrong will go wrong for the Pac-12. They can't have nice things. So they've got Oregon sitting there right now, Utah sitting there right now, and what they need is a collision course of Oregon and Utah. Forget about it. They're going to probably have both teams lose this weekend.
Yeah, probably.
Gosh, that would be a disaster for them.
I mean, it's not out of the question. Also, like, these players play hard for Clay Helton, which like is something that I did not think that we were going to see.
They do, man. He's definitely getting fired still.
Yeah, it's like every week they're like, oh yeah, who's the first to get fired? It's going to be Clay Helton, and then they go and like they'll win some random game, like when they beat Utah.
Yeah,
and you didn't see that happen, and they've been really good at home.
It's unfortunate because I really think if they had JT Daniels, that'd be a team that would be the Pac-12 team we're talking about with a shot at the playoff. I think we'd be talking about USC, Oregon, Utah all in the same breath.
Yeah, we'd still be talking about how Clay Helton's going to get fired, no matter how.
Oh yeah, without a doubt. Yeah, we'd never get past that. But yeah, I think the JT Daniels injury was really a bummer for them. But God, they're loaded at wide out, and that defense is kind of starting to come around. So give me Southern Cal at home.
Yeah, they're never not going to be like super talented. It's like it's kind of like Miami. Like I guess Miami has dropped off a lot, but it's just like one of those teams that always has star position players. I don't know if it's where they're located, the history, some of both.
Yeah.
I don't know.
No, absolutely.
Yeah, my very good dog is SMU +6 at Memphis.
Ooh, yeah.
Let's go.
Pony up.
I love it, dude.
Yeah, I mean, we talk about Bichelle a lot. Like, he is lighting up defenses. So is Memphis. This is like the points game, too. This is where, like, I hope the over hits. There's going to be tons of scoring. Both have good running backs, too. Only thing I'm concerned about with this, not only, but one of the things is SMU's top wide receiver might not play. So if that doesn't happen, you know.
Well, I mean, James Prochet stepped in and played really well without him in the Houston game. Prochet's a kid, you know, we talked about this, too. The upperclassmen on that team, those are Chad Morris kids. And that's, I mean, the upper class is the strength of that program, aside from the quarterback spot, obviously, which having Buechele back there doesn't hurt at all.
Right.
I love SMU. I love watching them play. They're explosive on offense. They look good on defense. I was surprised to see that they're actually as much an underdog as they are at Memphis. I know Memphis is at home, but Memphis has not really been impressive to me. And, hell, they almost lost last week and ruined the whole thing for everybody. So,
and that was who? To Tulsa?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, I think it's a great pick. Go
I love it. It will be interesting to see game day in Memphis.
Yeah. I'm sure that's probably not going to be a place I ever want to go back to.
Memphis.
I mean, if you've ever had a connecting flight in Memphis or an overnight in Memphis, it's not the best.
Or driven through Memphis.
Or just generally even, like, said the word Memphis. All due respect to Memphis, of course.
Yeah, but it's fun to root for SMU.
Good job by everybody here. You know, I kind of feel like we're good also, like in real life. I know podcasts are supposed to live in like this ether where like you don't talk about things that are happening throughout the actual day. But in the actual day, I had a meeting that started 5 minutes ago. So probably should just go ahead and wrap it up. I did not get to my Jamal Adams rant. I had one. Might save that for next week. We also didn't talk about the NCAA making an announcement about maybe having an announcement later on.
Yeah.
But I think that's like non-news. I think that they just said, yeah, we're going to look into it, and then everybody freaked out. For the record, I hope that they do figure it out because I want NCAA the video game to come back so I can roll with Indiana again. But yeah, maybe for a different day we can do some of that, or I can just bounce and you guys can do it.
Yeah, we should talk about one of these things. I think it's just, if it actually gets instituted, it's going to be so hard to regulate. I mean, it's going on right now, but if you can just say, the rich get richer. Like,
the rich will get richer, no question, and I think it's a situation where, like, morally it's the obvious play, but, like, in terms of actually executing on that, it gets really, really tricky.
Yeah.
So, cross that bridge when we get there, I guess. I think it'll be really interesting to look back and see what programs benefited from it the most. You know, one of the team, your very good dog, I think, is a dark horse program that actually can rise back up to where they were in the 80s with some of this, because now they can be above board with, you know, taking advantage of a lot of their donors and boosters that right now are handcuffed. There can be no gray area at SMU.
And all that, I mean, the car dealerships in Dallas, all the promotions you can do there. Yeah. They're going to be huge.
I think it's a major opportunity for SMU. Obviously, USC's a team like that. Miami's a team like that. Alabama, because they're the most marketable college football program in the country. Clemson. Again, the big dogs primarily are going to get better because of it. But at the end of the day, you know, and again, not to dive off in the the rabbit hole here, but I think really it's just bringing to light a lot of things that have already been going on behind the scenes. So it's really just going to be, how do we regulate it? Who regulates it? What role does the NCAA play? Are we leaving it up to state legislature? Is it going to be United States government legislature? Like, what are we doing here? So I really don't care, though. I really just want a video game back.
Yeah.
That's really the thing that I'm most
you.
worried about.
That's
yeah,
fair.
and then the Jamal Adams thing, like, can we just figure out what we're doing, Cowboys? Can we just, like, are we going to win this year? If we're going to win this year, like, you do the same thing you did last year. You trade the first-round pick to go get Jamal Adams. I don't care what the price was. There's not going to be anybody at the end of the first round that's the same caliber as Jamal Adams, just like there was nobody in that spot that's the same caliber as Amari Cooper. Go get your guy. 2 years left on his rookie deal.
Even if it's a few first-round picks, because I think that's what they wanted.
Yeah, that's fine. I'll give them the first-round pick from 20, whatever it is, 20, and they can have the first-round pick in 2021 too. I don't give a damn, because if you add Jamal Adams to that defense, now all of a sudden the Cowboys have got one of the best defenses in the NFL. Also, he's from Carrollton, so it makes sense because he's a local guy. He's definitely going to re-sign. Lifer, whole career with the Cowboys. Would have been awesome. Instead, I get to watch Jeff Heath play more. So I think that the person that sucked for the most was Jason Garrett, because right after that, then Jerry Jones was in the media talking about we're not as good as I thought we'd be, which begs the question, if we were as good as he thought we'd be, would he pull the trigger on something like that? Has he reached a point now where he's like, the hell with it, I'm just going to let us go 9-7, I'm going to fire Garrett, I'm going to hire Lincoln Riley, and then I'm going to go make a deal for Jamal Adams or something like that? I don't know, we'll see, but that's why I think that we're playing kind of both sides of the fence right now, and as a fan, I really just wish that we pick one.
And there you have it.
And
There
would
you
you be
go.
okay
You
with
got it
either
in.
or?
What's that?
Would you be okay with either or? If he went total AWOL and just said, this is not our year, let them fail.
Yes. Yeah.
It's not that fun. As a Falcons fan, it's not
No,
that
I know,
fun.
no, believe me, man, I know, I understand. I've been watching Jason Garrett go 500 now for like 10 years. I know, I get it. My thing is, I'd rather just bottom out for 1 year. We still have all the same guys, the most talented roster in the NFC, arguably. Let's just get the guy in charge that can get us to the promised land if Garrett is not the guy. It's like we can't over-talent Garrett. Just get rid of Garrett. Because this team is already on paper a team that should be way better than 4-3 and should be, quite frankly, front-running in the NFC and the favorite to go to the Super Bowl based on what we've seen thus far. Maybe the Saints could get into that argument a little bit. I'm not worried about the 49ers still, but instead it's just underachieving. It's the same thing we've seen from Garrett for forever, and I'm very tired of it. I said I wasn't going to do it, and you guys made me do it.
It was worth it. I
We
think.
baited you into it, yeah.
Yeah. The listeners
Cowboys.
enjoyed it. We enjoyed it.
All right.
I'm sorry, man.
I'm now 9 minutes late to my meeting. I blame both of you for that. Kyle,
Send them to me.
tell the good people what the key to running the bootleg is.
It's doing it naked.
It is. I kind of botched that. That's the thing.
Happy Halloween.
Happy Halloween.